The place was covered in graffiti.
The neighborhood's changed those 40 years. It used to be a lot of prostitution and drugs on the streets.
Oh, the east side. It happened on the east side. You know, there was a shooting on the east side.
Drug paraphernalia.
Well, it's okay so far, but you know how it goes. Just another time. Just another time.
Whatever it is, it's big and it's grisly. Whatever
All kinds of crap, literal, figurative, every kind of crap you can imagine.
its course now, it's running roughshod. Whatever it is,
We would hear gunshots, and it was still kind of scary.
way down below.
And I don't feel that way about this neighborhood anymore. And there are people out walking on the streets, and there are people feeling very comfortable, and there's this thriving scene happening, and people can go out to eat, and then they can go to the theater.
When I first moved over here, we couldn't even get pizza. I used to find people sleeping in my backyard. If you said anything, well, I live in O2, oh my God, what are you doing there? It's crime. And it's not that way.
And I'd like to think that we helped with that, because we made it a good place to come at night to see art and a thriving hub.
I think within 5 years after we moved here, I started seeing the change.
This was an abandoned warehouse. It hadn't been occupied for 10 years.
You get students and you get artists and you get creative individuals that begin to create new spaces within these sectors that are affordable.
It's property values and people being able to find space that they could turn into performance space, turn into art studios, that was not as expensive as some other parts of town.
Old spaces being transformed, reinvigorated, repurposed for creative endeavors.
We're in a neighborhood, we're able to cultivate relationships with our neighbors, and that's made a huge difference in terms of the longevity of the theater, that we actually do know our neighbors and they like us and they come here. I've worked really hard to make that happen.
The positive things, because of the attention that the East Side's getting, is that one, I can get a pizza delivered, which is great. Two, there is larger police.
What we see in the East Austin community, we see a lot of infrastructure changes.
Before we were the East Side. Now where I'm at, all the way to Chicon, is part of the Austin downtown corridor. That has a lot to do with it.
Again, when you've been an entity as long as we've been, you're dealing with an infrastructure that is in many instances very old, very dated.
It's the improvement, because when people are coming in from the airport, guess what? They got to come to the East Side. That's been the big focus on East 7th Street, which looks wonderful. I wish the attention would have been here many, many years ago. But it wasn't. That's the way it goes. But now it's good. It's there.
East Austin has always been a community that's been I guess, earmarked for communities of color.
With our roots dating back to 1875 as Austin's oldest institution of higher education, our mission was to educate freed slaves, and it started with the specific mission to train and educate teachers. We are a historically black university, but our doors have always been open to everyone. Yes, we've seen the community transform. And during the time, this was a predominantly African American community. It was a community where people lived, worked, played right here in the community. The community now is a much more diverse community. The university is surrounded by a Latino community now. Regardless of the makeup of the community, we're interested in ensuring that individuals have access to higher education.
When we got started, one of the things that we really focused on was really working to preserve the cultural identity of a community. I think over the course of the decades, East Austin has really changed in its scope and its demographics.
Preserving the language, I mean, obviously, is one of the most important things in preserving the culture. And so we try to incorporate a balance of Spanish and English in all of our plays so that we can convey both the message of the play in Spanish or in English simultaneously.
Some people say that some of my neighbors don't like the change, that it's losing a lot of its flavor, with this migration into the east side. But for me, it's, it's a neighborhood.
There is a lot that is being lost, and I think with organizations like ours, we really work to preserve the key principles, the tenets, the treasures that is from an older culture. East Austin right now is going through these wonderful transformations and reconfigurations. You can't prevent gentrification from changing communities. So, that said, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's a thing.
The Vortex does a lot of new, innovative productions. We do a lot of things that are created from scratch.
The beautiful part is we can create original, creative work that really challenges traditional structures.
Our mission is to do theater by and for Latinos that addresses critical issues. And the second part of that is that we see that our mission is to really open a window into the culture for people who are not Latino to understand and connect, because many of the issues in the Latino community are not specific to Latinos. They're really about the human condition.
The community that invariably gets displaced and dispossessed also can always look back and reflect on at a place, a theater space, a dance company, then that they can feel, well, perhaps change happened, but we at least have an element of representation and reflection that we can always go back and visit.
We also want to authentically tell the Latino story on stage that hasn't been told, and that's a lot. That's a lot to accomplish.
Regardless of their sexual preference or their color or their age or where they come from or what their experience is or whatever, that there's something here that they can come and appreciate and enjoy and learn from. With theater, there's a microcosm that we create on stage, and we have the possibility to create a diverse world on stage in a way that we would like to see it in reality. So that might mean having a cast that was age diverse, ethnically diverse, physically diverse, and culturally diverse. And by bringing those people all together in the same show, I think it enriches the experience. We're not trying to make realism like, well, there's no way that girl could be that woman's daughter. Well, in our play, she is, and if they appear to be different, it really doesn't matter because we're working with it as a reality. So that kind of cultivation of diversity has been part of my goal as an artist since the beginning.
We want to be that for young people. We want to be that for people who say, I've been to these wonderful theater performances, but I've never seen me on stage. I've never seen my family. I've never seen things that concern me that my family talks about or that are issues in my community. So theater's a powerful tool for that.
Theater has the opportunity to make us take time and space to open up to possibilities, to remember the stories, to tell the stories, and to create a culture that endures.
It's a place where I can learn, it's a place where I can feel, it's a place where I can share.
People still have that bad taste in their mouth about their east side.
Well, language so much just out in the world is something that people are fearful of. People would say, if they're speaking Spanish, they must be talking about us.
That's the perception that has been given through the media. Since I'm Hispanic, I'm bilingual, I can help the people in my neighborhood. So that's the whole thing. That's my satisfaction. I'm able to help my community.
Language is not a barrier. In fact, if you speak only English, you're going to come away understanding the story and feeling more comfortable about hearing and understanding Spanish. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Then it's no longer a division. It's something that people can feel comfortable about.
If we can all be more creative, more passionate, more engaged in our lives, and if art can help that a little bit, then it takes us out of this sort of really difficult and challenging time that we're in.
There's a real need, I think, to educate the community and help bridge the two cultures. We are all in this same community. We all belong to it.
The community can come together not just to talk about the art that they just saw, but to really be with each other in challenging times.
There's no difference between East or West. It's just what we make of it. You know, that's the way it is.
Cheers.
Today is Saturday, August 20th. The time is 11:08. Hoy es sábado, agosto 20. Son las 11:08.